the know, nonstop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
What's up, guys? It's Vikings Vent Line. We are still rolling around here in the offseason. The NFL season is just around the corner. Preseason, second game of the preseason tomorrow against the Indianapolis Colts. We're going to have a couple Vikings Vent Line guests join us here in just a second. Nicole and Justin will be our guests here today. We're going to talk a little Vikings preseason. We'll talk some expectations. Of course, get their record predictions. This is the most interactive show in all of Vikings land, so thank you for everyone who has supported us. If this is the first time you are discovering us, thank you very much. Hit that subscribe button, and we will be pumping out daily Minnesota Vikings content for you here on our YouTube channel. We're also on Apple, Spotify, ScoreNorth.com. Basically, however you consume your podcast, we are there for you. And also, if you'd like to get in on a future episode of Vikings Vent Line, we'll still do a couple more, even though the regular season is about 3 weeks away. We'll still have plenty of Vikings Vent Line conversations. So shoot me an email. It's scrolling across that bottom of the screen right now. It's VikingsVentLine@gmail.com, VikingsVentLine@gmail.com, and I will gladly put you in queue. By the way, Vikings Vent Line is, of course, sponsored by Surly Brewing Company. Don't just settle. Get surly, I should say. Judd Zolgad's been surly for the last few weeks. He's been pumped up for this partnership. And, of course, we'll be very furious, too, after many Vikings wins or losses, because there's no matter what happens, we're always still furious. So, Surly Brewing, thank you for powering Vikings Vent Line. Also, Vikings fans, get pumped because it's game time with the new Vikings scratch-offs from the Minnesota State Lottery. Playing, you can win up to $100,000 with their new $5 game. Plus, score great second-chance prizes like Vikings tickets and merch. And there's also a $2 Skull game with a top prize of $15,000. So if you're a big fan and ready for some big fun, then get pumped and say IMN to the Vikings scratch games from the Minnesota State Lottery. You must be 18 years or older to play. All right, logistics are out of the way. Let's bring in our guests. We got Nicole. We have Justin here for another edition of Vikings Vent Line. Nicole, Justin, thank you for joining us. Nicole, you've had a blood relative. Your brother was on this show not too long ago, about a month ago, and he was talking you up. So now I'm glad you're able to come on here and give some Vikings takes.
Yeah, Josh is my favorite person to debate with. We sit in my living room because I live in Denver, so I have to get the Sunday ticket and I share it with him. He comes over, we do crock pots and just sit and yell at the TV. It's pretty inappropriate. It gets pretty loud and sometimes aggressive. So I'm excited to hang out with you guys today. I definitely am a avid listener. I've been paying attention to you guys for a while. So it's fun to be on.
Appreciate it, Nicole. Justin, where are you calling from? You from Minnesota? Are you in Denver? Where the heck are you today?
From Winnipeg today.
Awesome. Yeah. Winnipeg.
So luckily we do have a lot of big Vikings contingent out here in Winnipeg. So there's always people to have over for games and celebrate when we win and, drown your sorrows in when we have a disappointing loss. But yeah, no, I'm very excited. Same with Nicole. I've been listening to you guys forever now and just appreciate all the content you guys throw out there. It's great to listen to.
Hey man, appreciate you guys for supporting and coming on. It's actually kind of mind blowing to me. I feel like, when I've been starting to do this off-season Vent Line show after the season ended, I would say it used to be like kind of split, and now I feel like it's 70 to 75% of the fans and guests that come on this show aren't residing in Minnesota. They might have been there at some point in their lifetime, but like the majority of them are actually outside of MN. And obviously, football is supreme and everyone loves the NFL, but I am just like mind blown at the amount of Vikings fans. I grew up in Minneapolis, St. Paul my entire life, and haven't really left the state ever. So it's pretty crazy to see all these cool Vikings fans. We're represented all over the place. Justin in Winnipeg and Nicole down in Denver. So I'm a big fan of it. Thank you guys for supporting.
Yeah, well, we can't get the content here. We get all the local stuff, but we don't get the same attention paid to our Vikings in Denver. Than
True.
Obviously we have those Broncos here. So
well,
I know you're a fan. Yes, we definitely switch players in a lot of different sports here. So it's fun to watch them when they do come here. But you guys are easy to get to. So I'm going to you every time. I mean, it's easy and it's fun. So thank you. Thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. All right. A lot of people say here on Purple Daily, if you two have listened enough, especially from our YouTube comments this edition, or even just see any of our Twitter or social media feeds that we're always way too negative on the Vikings. I don't think we're necessarily too negative. We're just more realistic. We're not going to pump you up with rainbows and butterflies. We just like to have a real conversation, and we have expectations for this team. So actually, I'm glad both of you are on here because it gives the fans a voice too as well. So I'll start with Nicole. Give me what you are most positive about going into this Viking season, or just the most positive thing that you can hold to with the 2021 Vikings.
Well, I'll go with the biggest one. The most obvious, I would say, is the defense will be watchable again. I mean, last year we kind of went into it going, all right, after all those injuries, you thought, okay, this is kind of a wasted year. Let's get those rookies out there and get them some work. This year, it looks like it's going to be fun again. I mean, we can watch sacks and the confidence that that's going to bolster and help these kids to learn how to have fun and play, and not just like learn. It's actually like taking the ball and dunking it. I mean, get out there, get after the quarterback. I'm just excited to watch them get after the quarterback again.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, Danielle Hunter's absence last year is probably the biggest loss the Vikings had. They had absolutely no help on the defensive line to get pressure to the quarterback. No. Because of that, the cornerbacks also suffered. The Vikings were just absolutely ran through.
Yeah, the pass.
Everything.
There was no pass coverage. There was everything was a mess. I think they're gonna be all right this year. They're gonna be fun to watch on that end of the field anyway, for sure.
Yeah, he's a linchpin, and Daniil's back, and I'm curious, maybe Everson Griffin does re-sign here. Maybe one of these younger guys in DJ Wanham steps up big time, but I'm curious what the other side of that line looks like.
Well,
but you're right. Danielle Hunter getting after is going to be fun.
They have a vocal leader again. I was worried when Ev left because he was the vocal leader. We just really lacked that. He brought so much energy, and now we have what's that cornerback's name again? Not Breland. Pat P. We have Pat P over there to add that energy and possibly Ev again. I mean, that's nothing but good news for us. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of that, some stars again, get out there and get after it and just bring some hype.
I love it. Justin, what about you, man? All the way up in Winnipeg. What's the most positive thing you can say down here to the purple in Minnesota?
Yeah, Nicole kind of stole my thunder because the defense is going to be very exciting to watch again this year. But more specifically, what I'm looking for is just that interior defensive line. Because growing up, early 2000s, watching the Williams Wall, we had never really any concerns over stopping the run. And then last year was just a complete disaster, just getting gashed over and over again. That Christmas Day game, Alvin Kamara ruined my Christmas. He put 6 touchdowns on us. So I think just being able to have, Dalvin Tomlinson, Michael Pierce healthy again, and then a rotation with Sheldon Richardson in there. I hope Vikings fans remember what he looked like when he was here a couple years ago, because I feel like every game he would make, 1 or 2 plays where he just blow up a run right in the backfield, forcing fumbles, everything. He did it all. So I think seeing that interior defensive line just get back to kind of historic Vikings football, smash mouth, stopping the run on early downs and then having Danielle come off the edge on late downs. It's going to help the defense as a whole. How Nicole was saying with, it's all interconnected with the coverage and everything, and help out those young cornerbacks. Bringing in the veterans like Pat Pete is going to be instrumental. But I think it all really starts with that interior D line.
Yeah, I mean, I same thing that you were saying, Justin. Growing up a Vikings fan, the early 2000s, the Williams Wall, Jared Allen. Even after that, the Vikings still always had great pass rush. And last year was the first time it actually looked very suspect. And to your point about Christmas being ruined and Alvin Kamara scoring 6 touchdowns, it felt like the whole reason they went out and got Dalvin Tomlinson and Sheldon Richardson and all these guys, and Michael Pierce is back, because they literally said that can never happen again. And I'm sure that was a lot of Zimmer, but they literally said that will never. I don't know what will be, record wise, and if we're going to a Super Bowl, but that kind of performance will never happen against my defense ever again. And Mike Zimmer said, "I'm sewing up that defensive line."
Yeah, no, I think you're bang on that. Zimmer made sure that no matter what, he's not going to be embarrassed like that again.
I like it. Transitioning to the offensive side of the football, they get the Colts on Saturday here, and Jake Browning obviously was thrown in the fire when all the quarterbacks had to go on the COVID list, and he looked pretty good in practice, was very admirable. He played well. But then Kellen Mond stepped up a little bit here in practice. Coaches are praising him a little. And obviously he's a rookie quarterback, but Jake Browning with next to no little NFL experience. I'm kind of curious what you guys think, who wins this backup quarterback job. And I know Saturday's probably going to tell a good tale of that, whether it's Kellen Mond, whether it's Jake Browning, or maybe even someone off the street, or they find someone via trade when the season gets closer. So Nicole, I'll start with you. Who do you think ends up backing up Kirk when it's week 1 in the regular season in Cincinnati?
Well, I'm not ready to give up on Jake yet, but I think I kind of have in my head. I don't think he's got the experience, and he just looked frazzled. I mean, it's about what happens under the lights, and I'm just really worried that we're going to have 3-4 games where we're maybe not going to have Cousins for whatever reason. I think we need to go somewhere and watch that waiver wire. I thought maybe we would give an interview and Josh Allen just get dropped or something, but I don't know. I think we need to look somewhere where it's a non-threatening, maybe older quarterback who's had some experience under his belt. We know what we're going to get, but it's not going to be horrible. You don't know what you're going to get with Mond or Browning, and Mond I don't want him out there yet. It just you throw him out there, and if Kirk, we know how he is under pressure. We throw him out there. And Kirk gets under pressure, and all of a sudden the stadium starts saying, Mond, Kellen Mond. I don't want that to happen, because he doesn't do well with that. And we need him to do well. He needs him to do well this year especially. So I think probably we're going to end up, I'd like us to go somewhere and just get a old washed up quarterback that's got a couple of games left in him.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there too, Nicole. I mean, even if it's not, I kind of don't want Kellen Mond to be thrown to the fire a little bit. You can ruin rookie and young quartarbacks very early. I know you're rocking a Dante Culpepper jersey. I don't know, is that Dante?
That's Dante. That. It's worn out, man.
Yeah. I'm about to say, give him a call. I would love to see Dante back on the team.
I bet he's got a couple. He's got an arm. I mean, just throw it out there. We got the receivers. We just, I don't know. I don't know what this, I mean, I just don't want Kirk to feel he's our quarterback this year. We have to, He is there. So I don't want to put any more pressure on him than he already has. And with this COVID stuff going on, we really don't know what's going to happen with our team or anybody else's. I think we need to be prepared there.
Justin, what do you think, man? Who do you think ends up backing up Kirk when the season opens in Cincinnati?
I say, at this point, I feel like the only real option is Jake Browning, and, might be unfortunate, but of all the criticism that Kirk gets, he has been extremely reliable. And I know the whole COVID thing and, the vaccination stuff throws a bit of a curveball into that this year. But, with the injury concerns being so low and just looking at what's out there in terms of a potential backup quarterback, the pickings are slim. It is too bad that we didn't go after something earlier in the offseason. I know Joe Flacco was available, Jacoby Brissett, some guys like that who do have experience and can kind of give you a bit more than, getting Blake Bortles off the wire. I just feel like if Kirk were to miss a game or 2 or 3, no matter what, we're in a lot of trouble, number one. And number 2 would be the game plan would be completely, let's run Dalvin into the ground, 35 carries. So I think at this point it would be Jake Browning. Hopefully throughout the season, though, Kellen Mond, he's been showing better in practice. He looked decent in a completely stripped down playbook, just coming back from the COVID in the first preseason game. So hopefully he can learn and develop throughout the year and gain a better understanding of the playbook. But I think at this point it's pretty much got to be Jake Browning.
Yeah, and I think people also underestimate, to your point, Justin, of waiting so long to get the right backup quarterback, right? Like Philly just said, hey, we're going to sign Joe Flacco right away, and Jalen Hurts started a handful of games, but we're going to have a little competition here. We're going to make things easier on him. And I think the second part, too, and it gets kind of slept on in football, it's not like any other sport where in baseball, you sign a guy off the street and he can go 1 for 4 for you and fill in a hole in your lineup. Like quarterbacks and learning the playbook and learning the rhythm and learning all this nuanced stuff. It's not just hiking a ball, taking 3 steps and throwing it around. There's literally studying that has to go into it. And whether you assign a backup off the street or not, he's basically going to be behind the 8 ball. So I know there's been some debunks of that. Sam Bradford stepped in here a week before the season, played pretty admirable in an 8-8 year, but I think that's more of a rarity. That's not going to happen. So them not getting a backup quarterback earlier in the spring or pre-draft, I think it does hurt them. Kirk has been durable. That's been great. But now with this extra external issue with COVID, or just even regardless without COVID, he's one play away from a from Jake Browning or Kellen Mond being thrown into the fire, and that is a little scary. That is a little scary for Vikings fans, and they probably should be worried a little bit about that. Looking at the NFC North, Aaron Rodgers is going to play for the Packers, this quote-unquote last dance, if you want to call it that, in Green Bay. Detroit, although Dan Campbell looks like he's going to be a quote machine, and I'm excited to see what he says after every single game. I'm not threatened by the Detroit Lions. Hey, the Bears, you never know. If Justin Fields is legit, this actually could be a insane sleeping giant because that defense is still pretty good, but at the same time, I still think the Vikings have the edge. So I want to know from you guys, we'll start with Nicole, do you feel like the Vikings are the favorites in the North? Kind of where do you see, how do you see this division shaking out?
Well, we started off positive. I hate to be negative, but I don't. I really think that Rodgers has something to prove again this year, which is bad news for us. He's going to come out and he's going to do what he does. And it's, KIRK does too. And let's hope that he maybe turns a corner, but he hasn't yet. And I'd say proof's in the pudding. You guys got to put it out there. You have to prove that you're better, or you're not going to get that favorite, especially before the season starts against him, the MVP of last year. As far as the rest of them, I mean, the Bears are always they start off great, and then you never know. And then the Lions, I almost feel bad for them. It's just always a crapshoot on what's going to happen with them. So I really think we're going to be a solid second, but and possibly a first. You never know. This is a crazy time we're living in. Who knows what can happen? But going in number 2 for now. The Packers have us, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but that's my take, I guess.
Yeah, when they made these offseason additions and the drama was at an all-time high in Green Bay, I kind of thought the same thing. I thought the Packers were going to come down to earth pretty damn hard if Blake Bortles or Jordan Love had to be thrown into there. And now I know I think it's, I don't think like the Packers have a stranglehold. I guess if you want to list it, yeah, they're probably the favorites. I don't think it's by much. The way I kind of look at the division is it's basically going to be like it used to be in the black and blue division, as they used to call it back when I was a kid. It's going to be, I don't see any team really winning more than 10 games. I think everyone's going to beat up on each other, outside of the Lions probably being in the basement. 1 through 3 are kind of up for grabs right now, and I'm curious to see how it goes. Justin, what do you think, though, man? Do you think the Vikings are the favorites in the North, or the Packers still have it?
I'll go the opposing view this time, and I'll try to be a bit positive on this end of thing. Green Bay, their schedule is a bit tougher than the Vikings. Just being, that first place in the division last year, they're going to have to play a bit of a tougher schedule on that end. On the other side of it, too, all the additions that we made on defense, I think, are going to really help the Vikings this year. Whereas, Green Bay made some minor additions here and there, like, bringing in Randall Cobb and Devin Funchess don't really scare me too much. Plus, them losing Bakhtiari for the year, I think, is really going to hurt them. And, with us bringing Danielle back and getting him back and healthy, those 2 games are really up for grabs. In the Zimmer era, we have played Aaron Rodgers very tough too. I think we have a 500 record against them, which is great considering how, dominant they've been the last 4 or 5 years. So with all that being said, I think we can say that we're the favorite this year. All things hold up. We get our O-line shirt up, hoping the young guys can come and step in. Why not? And to that point, I'm not scared of Detroit at all. And I think Chicago, that defense is getting older. Justin Fields does look exciting, but I think they're still a few years away from their peak. And at that point, if their defense falls off, what are they going to really look like? So Chicago I still think we're going to end up losing in Soldier Field, as is tradition. But
we always do.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't think Chicago's a playoff team this year. So I think I'll put us at number 1 in the division then.
I love it. I love the optimism there, man. Yeah, I do think it's Vikings and Packers as 1 and 2, how you want to say who's 1 or who's 2. But Justin Fields scares me a little bit. But also the thing that like reels me back in with Justin Fields possibly being legit is it's Matt Nagy. And it's that company who are evaluating this quarterback. Like, everyone always rags on the Vikings for not being able to find a franchise quarterback. Chicago Bears are right there in the mix and have had as many quarterbacks that have had birthdays. I'm 28 years old. Like, it's insane how many players have come and gone through there at the quarterback position for the Bears. So Yeah, I'd be more worried about the Packers, but I do think the Vikings should, if everything goes according to plan, right, they should absolutely win the division. So, Nicole, I'll ask you this too. If when you look at the 17-game schedule and you look at if the Vikings are the favorites, what is your final record prediction for the Vikings in 2021?
So I'm leaning towards 9-8. I really think it's kind of going to be a roller coaster this year. We have a tough schedule. And we're not as deep in certain areas. We all know which ones they are. I won't bring them up, but I think 9-8, and I really think it's going to be a slogfest. I mean, it's going to be hard again this year. There's going to be a lot of question marks. There's going to be a lot of people in and out. It's going to be unpredictable. So I want to say 10-7. I want to say that, but I kind of agree with you, Declan, on it being real close. I think 9-8 is a pretty reasonable expectation. It could go either way, though. I mean, you just never know.
Justin, what do you think, man? What is your final record prediction for 2021?
Seeing as I was optimistic on the last one, I'll keep being optimistic. I'll say 11-6. I think our schedule is difficult, and there's some tricky games in there, but I think the home field advantage is going to be huge this year. I can't wait to, be able to watch on TV, hopefully come down, once we open our borders, hopefully get down there for a game or two this year, because it's just going to be rocking in that stadium. The home field advantage is going to be back. There's not going to be Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be able to draw the guys offside at home anymore like last year. So it was just so frustrating, but I'll say 11-5.
Yeah, I had 11 wins too. I know I'm with you, dude. I haven't gotten the 17 math in my schedule at all. Math was 16 games for my first 27, 28 years. Already hard enough. Now they're gonna add another game into this equation. I had 11 wins too originally after the offseason and in the early parts of summer, and now I'm kind of with Nicole. I think it's probably 9. I think it's probably 9 or 10 wins at the very, very, very most. At just the way this division is shaping up and the way this offseason is kind of ending in the preseason, I think it's going to be a dogfight to win that NFC North. And yeah, if they can get some home field advantage cooking and you get a home playoff game, well, US Bank's one of the best home field advantages in the NFL. And if they can at least get that wild card weekend at home, I mean, yeah, you're talking about a legit chance to hopefully make a run in the postseason. So I agree. I think probably 9 to 10 wins is probably more accurate. I would love if it's 11, Justin. I'm with you there. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm really excited for this Viking season, and this obviously preseason game against the Colts on Saturday will be a fun one as well. It's still football, even though I know like 31 starters sat out last week. It sounds like actually we'll get to see some starters and some resemblance of normalcy, and I'm excited to watch some football this weekend against the Colts and the regular season opener as well against the Bengals here in about 2 or 3 weeks. I do like to give a shout out to both of you. So Nicole, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to give a shout out or one last take to anything you want here. The floor is yours.
Go Vikes. I just want to give a shout out to my family and let's win one this year. Why not us? Shout out to my brother, of course. I'm sure he'll be watching when it comes up. My favorite debate buddy and my parents, even though they switched sides, they still came to the Broncos Vikings game with us a couple of years ago at US Bank, and it was an amazing experience. Shout out to you guys there at Score North who give us this content. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Appreciate that, Nicole. Are they Broncos fans? Is that where they jump ship?
Yeah. So they switched, and then but we're still, so while like I cheer for the Broncos if they're not playing the Vikings, they do the opposite, which is just it's hard to deal with.
Well, with my guy Teddy B and even Drew Lock being there, I might be with your parents here. I might be a pseudo Broncos fan for 2021 just to see.
It's
see
good football environment down here in Broncos country. There's a lot of Vikings fans down here, so I have a good time. My friends think I'm a little annoying, which is why I stay home and watch the games. But I've been down to Invesco or whatever they call it now a few times, and it's a good time. They got a real good tailgating experience down there.
Awesome. Justin, what about you, man? You got anyone you want to shout out here in the next 60 seconds or one last take you want to give?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, like Nicole, thank you to you guys. Score North, you guys just provide us so much great Vikings content, especially for people who don't live in the Twin Cities. It's just awesome to listen to. I just like to say, if you guys get bored of watching this preseason football, tune into a CFL game or two. We can really use the viewers. We're back. Minnesota, we're only about 7 hours away from Winnipeg. You could pick up my Winnipeg Blue Bombers as your, resident fan base. It would be great. But looking forward to the season. Can't wait. And there's nothing like NFL football.
I know, man. I feel you. I would love to get up to a Jets game. I'm a big hockey fan, obviously, as well. So I'd love to see a Wild and Jets game there now that they're back in the division. Like you said, borders got to reopen. Things got to get back to normal. But yes, also CFL. Don't forget about some CFL football. I don't blame you there. Don't blame me at all.
Just got to shout it out. Just got to give him a shout out.
Someone's got to give him some love. You know, there's other people in our comments saying, why do you guys ever talk Winnipeg Blue Bombers? I know there's probably other people in there, so I hear you.
Yeah,
I've been to Winnipeg, Justin. I'm from North Dakota, just in between Fargo and right on the eastern side. So I've been to Winnipeg a couple of times when I was younger. We used to run up there because the age was a little younger for drinking when I was that age.
No, it's great. We've had our stadium open, full capacity and everything. The games have been fantastic so far. It's just been electric. So now I can't wait to see it on the other end and see you guys get to enjoy those full pack stadiums again.
Love it. Nicole, Justin, thank you so much for coming on Vikings Vent Line. For anyone who wants to come on a future episode, we have a couple more left before the regular season starts, and we'll be doing traditional Vent Line with Mackie, Judd, and myself the moment after Vikings game ends. Shoot me an email. It's scrolling across that bottom of the screen for our YouTube audience, vikingsventline@gmail.com. We'll also be breaking down the preseason game against the Colts on Sunday as well with Mackie and Judd, and plus some fun announcements as well as we hopefully have a kind of a new stable of shows and a new fun announcement we're going to be bringing out here in a couple of weeks on Purple Daily as well. So stay tuned for that. But for Nicole, for Justin, I'm Declan Goff. Thank you for listening to Vikings Vent Line. Hit that subscribe button, and we appreciate you, and we'll be back tomorrow.